the day. You can see I'm even wearing the same shirt that I was wearing earlier. So I'd like to tell a little story. Nobody's here watching yet, so maybe people who are watching the replay can hear the story. So there's a channel on YouTube here by a buddy of mine named James. Some people call him Jimmy. And he talks about this idea of the movie Fight Club, which, just a full disclosure, I have not seen. But basically, he talks about this idea that I guess people who are normal, everyday working people can kind of do something that they believe in when they're off work. So that's kind of my idea here. That's the idea that James is putting forth, that, vegan activists can go forth and speak up for animals and do this very necessary outreach. So that's what I'm doing here. So I have this sign. It says, "Come participate in a social experiment." And this is a totally impromptu live stream. So I already did a live stream earlier today, and I'm planning on doing one tomorrow. But I thought, hey, I have some time here. I'm about to go work out tonight, but I figured before I do that, why don't I just take some time to do some outreach? So totally impromptu, just getting out there a little bit more, and just seeing what conversations I can have. I've got about 40 minutes or so to do this. So without further delay, let's see how many conversations we can have. So I've got my sign here, "Come participate in a social experiment." I know it's mirrored on YouTube, but that's what I'm going to be doing. So hopefully you guys can hear me. If somebody watching can let me know if they can't hear me, that would be appreciated. And let me adjust this a little bit here, and we'll get started.
The thing is, for us to go to a night, that's
Hello. Would you like to participate? All right, great. I am live on YouTube, just so you know. So welcome into the stream. Is it just you participating here? Are you the spokesperson?
Yeah.
Okay. What's your name?
I'm Bridget.
Bridget, my name is Haas. So it was really hot today, as I'm sure you realized. So something that I wanted to ask about is this idea of cruelty in the name of human progress. So one experiment that I wanted to bring attention to was an experiment where humans were actually shaving dogs, like part of their fur, and testing, like burning them with hot plates, basically, kind of like branding them, in order to research like the effects of burns for burn victims. Are you over 18, by the way?
I am.
Okay, just making sure, because it's a little bit of a sensitive subject. So I'm wondering, I guess, what you think about the ethicality of that. Like, if somebody were to say, well, we're doing this in order to preserve, preserve the integrity of science and develop research that is going to potentially help people with like cosmetic treatments, stuff like that. Like if they're, I don't know, cooking with a pressure cooker and something goes wrong with the lid and they end up like, that kind of thing. So how many dogs, I guess, do you think it would be worth like, burning with a plate, or would you think that we shouldn't be doing that to animals at any cost?
Okay. I mean, yeah, I definitely think that we shouldn't be doing it at all. I know that they do a lot of that for cows as well. But I think,
burning them,
or like, isn't it like the stamping, the pressing?
Oh yes, yeah, and
That's less painful, right?
well, no, I was gonna say that's even more. If you were to think about, I guess, like, and I don't think of it this way in terms of like the negatives, like the outcome outweighing the good, or the good outweighing the bad kind of thing. But the branding of the cow is just so that they can. It's like a tag on a shirt. You know what I mean? It's just so they can get. There's literally, like, that's not doing any good. I mean, even if you were to think of it in a utilitarian sense, like, does this amount of harm for this many dogs serve some kind of a benefit? But yeah, the branding of cows is just an egregious.
Okay.
But
yeah,
it sounds like you're against the dog branding example.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of just like numerous accounts of just animal cruelty to try to help humans, and oftentimes it's just like, while it might help us in a way, it's never going to help the animal, and I don't agree with that then at all.
So would it be safe to say that you're against like the use of animals if it hurts them, even if it serves a benefit for humans?
Yeah, honestly, I would say I'm against it at all.
I guess I'm wondering if I could then kind of transition that subject toward the use of animals for food purposes. What are your thoughts on that, like forcing animals into slaughterhouses?
Yeah, so once again, I feel like it's like think it's hard because I think if it can be done in like a nice way, obviously with a slaughterhouse, that's always going to be negative, you know. I know that a lot of times, isn't it just like if they die of natural causes, or is it an actual slaughterhouse?
Well, the animals who die of natural causes, by and large, don't get eaten.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, so it is just the
well,
slaughterhouse?
yeah, I mean, a cow can live like 20, 25 years, but they get killed either at like maybe 8 months to a year and a half if they're being raised for their flesh. Now, a dairy cow might get to live for 5 or 6 years, but she's being repeatedly, forcibly impregnated. Her babies are stolen from her over and over again, which is extremely traumatic for her. And then she's killed. So sometimes after she collapses, then she's killed. It's a very it's arguably more cruel actually to contribute to dairy type products.
Right.
And yeah, the other thing with the slaughterhouse, this is kind of a grim detail, is that the animals need to be bled out before their flesh can be like considered palatable. If an animal is just like dead, but their blood is still in their veins, the meat is going to just be soaked in blood. So that's the whole reason that they're hung upside down by their feet and then have their neck cut so that the blood, each time their heart beats, basically it gushes more and more blood out until they die of blood loss, essentially. Even if you think about like an animal like a pig, for example, the most so-called humane way of killing them involves putting them in a gas chamber, like a CO2 gas chamber. So, but that doesn't actually kill them. That just like basically like renders them too weak to like fight back when they're hung upside down. It doesn't like incapacitate their brain at all. If you think about like if you open like a can of soda and if you try to breathe in, like there's this like sharp kind of, imagine now they're in a gas chamber saturated with that. So they're thrashing, their lungs are burning. Carbonic acid is the byproduct of the carbon dioxide reacting with the mucous membranes in their lungs. So yeah, I'm envisioning kind of like, speaking up for animals as an animal rights activist, I'm envisioning a world without gas chambers and without throat slitting. Throat slitting is the number one cause of death in the world, and I think it doesn't have to be that way. Do you think that kind of a world is closer to the kind of world that you want to see, or further from the kind of world you want to see?
I think definitely closer. I think with a lot of work and maybe some years on us, I think we could do it. Yeah, I would like that.
Yeah. And what's something that you think you could do to vote for that kind of a world with your everyday actions?
I think definitely it's just spreading awareness is one, and like protesting, obviously, but with like my own personal actions, I think I could research into more sustainable ways, and obviously, and then just like even at the end, like invoke it all.
So do you think that it would make it would be better in line with your values if you were to be vegan?
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I guess then, is anything stopping you from declaring today as your vegan declaration day?
I guess not.
Vegan from now on?
Vegan from now on.
All right, shake on it.
Thank you.
Good
Appreciate
deal.
your time.
Yep. And I'll give you some information here. This is from a place called Vegan Outreach, and they can kind of guide you toward, there's a vegan starter guide there. There's also a site called howdoigovegan.com. And I'd also like you to just continue looking at kind of like what's actually happening to these animals. There's a documentary called Dominion. Dominion 2018 is what it's called on YouTube. It's Australian standard factory farming processes, but ultimately all the animals go to the same slaughterhouses, whether they're humanely raised on small farms, big farms. Local doesn't matter to the victim, and what we do with them after they're dead doesn't matter to the victim. So I just encourage you to keep the victims in mind, and then also be a voice, because if you go vegan, you're just removing yourself from the harmers, like the group of harming people, from the mob that's harming them. But to actually help the world change, the virtuous thing to do is then just to be a voice. Thanks so much. Yeah, appreciate it. Have a good one. All right, that was a good conversation, and we got a vegan from now on. So I think that was awesome. What a good start to the outreach. So I've got like probably about 30 more minutes or so. I am very thirsty right now, but I think I'm just gonna have to deal with it. I was planning on getting some water. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Let's scroll up a little bit. So we got from I Love Israel. Why should we stop eating meat now? We have ate meat for thousands of years. I Love Israel. What I would say is that something may have been necessary in the past, or we may have been doing something for a long time in the past, but when something's no longer necessary and we keep doing it, it goes from being a necessary evil to just evil. So that would be my response to that. The reason to stop, as I would see it, would be that, as you say, we have no reason to stop. It's creating victims, so we're exploiting others. Navia says we have eaten plants for millions of years. Millions? I don't know, but yeah, for a long time anyway. I see Jake is in the chat here, and we got James here. James, actually, I gave tribute to you at the beginning of the stream. I started by basically introducing the Fight Club idea, and I have to say I haven't seen that movie, but I was just like, hey, I got some time here before my workout tonight. Tammy says I just ate a chicken. Tammy, is that a vegan chicken? Because that could be pretty dope. If you ate a vegan chicken. If it was a vegan chicken, I bet you would have spelled it with 2 Ks, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt here. Okay, but Redwood says animal fat is essential for testosterone and immune function. So Redwood, if you go to my channel on the community post, I posted my last testosterone labs. I'm 38 years old, and men usually see a decline in their testosterone levels like after age 30 usually. My levels are 730 nanograms per deciliter, and that's like the levels of like a 20 or a 25-year-old. Like there's no man at any age. Am I in your way? Oh yeah, you can go for it. There's no man at any age for whom 730 would be too low of a reading. So at age 38, I think that's pretty amazing. And I don't take like steroids or anything like that. And my immune function is great. I hardly ever get sick. Council CEO said, I didn't eat meat all day. That's pretty cool. And hopefully you didn't exploit any animals with like any other actions, because we have to remember, just because we don't eat their bodies, we have to also be careful about other products that exploit animals like cheese and eggs. I Love Israel says, did you know that if turkeys were as big as us, they would eat us? They might, but I still don't think that makes it right to eat them or to Holocaust them. We have to keep in mind that we can choose something better. Just because, like for example, let's say there's a violent criminal who's in jail. If maybe the violent criminal's like, if you release me from jail, I'm going to kill you. If the person hypothetically said that, that doesn't justify killing that person, right? Because we have morality, we can make choices. So just because someone is or could be violent doesn't justify violence toward them. Lexi Simmons says, is your name the vegan teacher? I would say I'm a vegan teacher. I'm not the vegan teacher. I think you're thinking of Miss Katie, the vegan teacher. And she does some good work too. I don't agree with all of her take on everything, but she does some good work. And Jimmy says, best part about veganism is we tell everybody about Vegan Club. Yes. He says Fight Club is pretty violent. I can imagine with a movie called Fight Club. Manuel says, I'm 10 years old. Manuel, I don't think you should be on the internet. I'm not exactly sure, but I think that might be a violation of YouTube terms of service. So you probably want to check with your parents on that. Okay, so I see some Israel-Palestine type discussions. And okay, so anyway, I'm going to keep going here with the stream. So we had one really good conversation, and I'm basically holding the sign that says, come participate in a social experiment, trying to encourage compassion for animals. Animals. So good to see everybody here. This is my second stream of the day, so if you saw my previous one, I am wearing the same shirt. Like, I literally haven't showered since the last stream, and it's been like 85, 87 degrees here pretty much all day. So yeah, it's an action-packed day. And the question that I'm really asking people is about burn research. I've been using that question lately, asking people about which animals they're okay with, like testing being done on, like testing that involves animal cruelty, and then kind of extrapolating meaning from that when it comes to like the food department. Horizon, I hope that answers your question, but basically the experiment is testing people's values. So I'm testing to see if people's values are against animal cruelty. And if they're against animal cruelty, then I'm trying to help people see that by eating animals, they're going against their own values. So I've been doing vegan activism on YouTube for like maybe 12 years now. And this is just a kind of continuation. I'm evolving with the time. So, live streaming is kind of the new thing now. And I'm here to kind of hop on that wave. Richard says, I love burgers. Richard, I love burgers as well. If you think about what a burger is, now granted, I don't eat gluten, so it would be like a gluten-free bun. But so we've got my gluten-free vegan bun, and then we've got lettuce, tomatoes, pickles, ketchup, onions, mustard, relish. Ooh, my mouth is watering. We have all that amazing stuff in between that's vegan. And then all we're talking about then, besides those, lettuce, relish, onions, pickles, tomatoes, etc., 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 is just a thin little patty, right? And if we make that from black beans, then bada bing, bada boom, we've got a vegan burger. So, an activist named Gary Yourofsky, he was actually talking about the fact that we actually have all those things in a burger kind of to mask the flavor of the flesh. Think about it. So you've got your bread, right? And then put a little ketchup on the inside of the bun. Maybe on top of that, put some mustard, maybe, and then you've got like a tomato, like a slice of tomato, a bunch of lettuce, and then you can put maybe sprinkle some nutritional yeast in there, and then you have a nice crispy black bean patty. Like if you shop at Costco, they have a really delicious black bean patty, and I'm not sponsored by Costco, BTW. And then you've got your mustard, maybe on the other bun. Some more pickles, maybe some shredded cabbage could be really good, and I think that's a burger. I really think that's a burger. The fact that you have to have vegan burger, steak, chicken kind of proves the point you inherently want those foods. So Brandon, nobody goes vegan for taste reasons. So that's not to say that vegan food tastes bad, but it's a justice movement. So it's like basically the equivalent of any movement for any oppressed people, but it's for non-human animals. So we're not telling people that their desire to eat animals is wrong. We're just telling them that the means to procure those things is unjust. That it's not justifiable. It's not justifiable to bring someone into the world with the day of their execution already planned, only to use them for their body. So I'm not trying to rid the world of suffering. I think that suffering is, part and parcel with existence, right? You can't have pleasure without pain. But I want to see a world where we don't have gas chambers anymore. I want to see a world where we're not throat slitting anymore. I want to see a world where animals are not valued just for what people can use their bodies for. And I think this has huge ramifications for interhuman interactions, like the way we treat each other, I think is influenced by the way that we see our fellow animals. So I'm envisioning, I have a dream of a world where we don't look at each other and think about what we can use each other for, and where we respect others' bodily autonomy. So, Asja, I hope that answers your question about why I choose vegan. And I've been vegan for almost 13 years now. So, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Terry says, "Dude, eating vegan is a first world privilege." Terry, I don't disagree with you, but I think that if you have the ability to do that, then you should. I'm not, in the middle of the Amazon rainforest telling those people to be vegan. I'm not in the middle of the Sahara Desert telling those people to be vegan. I'm in downtown Chicago telling people here to be vegan. If you have the ability to do something, if you have the ability to choose kindness, compassion, and justice for animals, then why wouldn't you? Why would you necessitate that a love-capable being have their life taken from them for just a 15-minute sandwich that you'll forget about in a week, or definitely by 2 weeks? I like your backpack. Very shiny. can't really hear you, but it's cool though. Cool style. I'm sorry, I'm just having trouble hearing you, but sorry? There's a what? Sorry, I can't really understand, but sorry. I'm sorry. Nerds like us, hello. Glad that you're here. I see the chat is pretty active. That's awesome to see. And if everybody who's vegan here can just maybe say how many years they've been vegan or how long they've been vegan, that'd be awesome to see. Yeah, Crystal says she's speaking a different language. I think she was. I think that was part of the lack of understanding from my part here. Yes, vegan, DBZ. This is Haas Vegan. So basically, I'm a vegan animal rights activist or animal liberationist. So I'm holding this sign. It says, "Come participate in a social experiment." This is my second stream that I've been doing today. 24 years vegan, says Navia. Vegan sign guy says 12 years. That is amazing. Miss Rose says, "We love USA." Yes, do it. You have to participate to know. Let your curiosity win. Hey, what's up? All right, awesome. Are you over 18?
Yes.
Okay, what's your name?
Caleb Reed.
Caleb? Cool,
Yeah.
My name is Haas. I am live on YouTube, just so you know. Are you cool with being live?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Would you mind just coming a little closer on the screen? So it's been really hot, and I'm kind of asking people about a specific issue that I have a lot of concern about, which is testing on animals. So I've recently read about research where animals are getting tested for, oh, that little kid just fell, for burn research. And basically, the animals in question were dogs. They were having some fur shaven from their bodies, and they were being stamped with like a metal hot plate, basically. I'm wondering what you think about that. Like, do you think it's okay to do that to dogs if it means that humans can develop some kind of a better like burn treatment for
No,
ourselves?
like personally, I don't think it's okay for like I'm sure a human wouldn't want that done to them. The same aspect as a dog doesn't want that done to them. And I don't think it's okay to use animals just because they're like more vulnerable and because you have easier access to control.
Yeah.
Take control of them, you know. But I mean, in some aspects, it depends on how widespread the issue is. In some aspects, because
Which
a dog, like what,
burns
like
and stuff?
like burns. But if it was like,
I
like,
see.
like if it was like cancer or something like that, something that's like hard to figure out, or like, you know, not a lot of people have the willingness and ability to go and try to figure something out.
I kind of see what you're saying. Like maybe to even take it to the extreme. Like if we knew that if we didn't torture 100 dogs, that the whole planet would blow up to tomorrow or something like that.
If it was
you could maybe justify it on some grounds.
Right.
I get where you're coming
if
from.
it was an extreme to that extent, but maybe in this situation, it's just something it's not reasonable, and I don't think it's right.
I really love how you mentioned the idea of vulnerability in other animals, like they're vulnerable.
Yeah.
I see the protection of animals, the advocacy for animals, as part and parcel with protection for like all vulnerable life.
Mm-hmm.
Like children, for example, you know, they're vulnerable, they're innocent,
Right.
They're defenseless, you know.
Yeah.
And so I want to kind of pivot to the animals that we exploit for food purposes. Like chickens, for example, are, I think, as far as land animals go, the most commonly exploited animal. It's 2,000 every second. And if you look at other land animals, it's about 5,000 every second are killed just in the U.S. And if you count like marine life, it's like they're not even measured as individuals. It's like metric tons. I'm wondering what you think about the use of those animals, like the violence toward those animals that's being inflicted on them.
I know fish reproduce like in a mass, like fish reproduce and marine animals reproduce a lot. So in a certain aspect, I feel like that's okay. But with like chickens and stuff like that, you know, like I can't really say because like I'm not like a hard like vegan or like, you know what I mean? Like I eat chicken, like I eat meat, you know what I'm saying? So I can't really justify or like not justify that because I can't.
You can think about it though, right? You can think about your reasons.
Yeah.
So I want to bring it back to the dog thing. Like So, dogs reproduce like crazy too. We have dogs getting put down in shelters
Yeah,
because the shelters are overflowing.
yeah.
So, do you think that it would be okay to test the metal plates on?
Nah, I still don't think it would be okay. I still don't think it'd be okay just because, like, the same thing with chickens. Like, all these animals are pretty much like vulnerable to us unless we give them a reason to put their guard up. A lot of dogs aren't going to attack you off rip unless you give them a reason to
Sure.
put their guard up.
So I guess if I can bring it to if we can kind of maybe structure this like, the dog feels pain, the chicken feels pain, the fish feels pain. Testing on them for unnecessary purposes would be unethical, right? Because the experience of pain to each of them is pretty much the same, right? They're just trying to vibe, enjoy their life,
Yeah.
and then they get like a metal plate pressed on them. They're like, dude, who hurt you? You know what I mean? Like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
And can you agree at least that with the experimentation, we know that that's like unnecessary, right?
Yeah.
When we're talking about just these non like Earth blows up kind of extreme examples.
Yeah.
But what about when you think about like something like you mentioned eating chickens, for example, like eating the chicken versus eating something like a black bean burger or like a jackfruit chicken or something made from like seitan or tempeh. If you had the option of one meal that would require a chicken to die, to be killed, versus another where you just have to process it from jackfruit, bread the jackfruit, put some nutritional yeast, maybe some arrowroot powder, get some good starchy crisp going, black peppered up, and kind of tastes good, right?
Honestly, I see where you're coming from, but like, not gonna lie, like I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I'm choosing chicken sandwich. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, like
So
that's just where I'm like.
So would you say that based on your value system, and I'm not saying that any value system is right or wrong, because I do believe that morality is subjective. So my purpose here in this thought experiment is just to get a person to see if their actions are in line with their own values, because it's kind of something that we don't really think about on a day-to-day basis,
Yeah,
right?
you definitely
go through
don't
a
think about
drive-through, order whatever, you don't remember what you ate 2 weeks later, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? But for a being, that's their life being ended.
I agree that my values aren't what I say is not aligned to what I do, but that's just the truth. That's just the truth and honesty of like where I'm at. Like,
No, that
even though I don't think it's right, I'm
that's
still
something called cognitive dissonance. So, if your values are out of line with your actions, I will warn you that that's a very painful position, because over time you'll find that either your actions need to change to kind of fit in line with those values, which it sounds, well, I guess maybe I want to explore that a little bit more, but or your morals basically have to change to be in line with your actions. So if you go long enough, and I don't want to assume that this is the case, but it sounds like you value taste, pleasure more than the life of those animals.
I mean, I in reality, yes, that's the reality of the situation. But in the time being, like you said, that's not something we think about on a day-to-day basis.
And I would say maybe more so than even that being the reality of the situation. That's maybe just more what your actions are saying. So maybe in your values are saying, yes, chicken, your body, your choice, but your actions are saying your body, my choice. And again, this would just be a matter of cognitive dissonance. So the key would just be to try to align your actions with your values. And I can tell you that the biggest benefit that you'll get is that cognitive dissonance will just disappear. It'll just vaporize. So I can't explain to you how that would feel, but if you can think of any instance where you have a great deal of hypocrisy, and then that hypocrisy is lifted off your shoulders, it's very freeing. So you get a form of liberation for your own mind, where the shackles of that hypocrisy are no longer encumbering you. So I would just encourage you to look more into it. I'd like to give you some information. This is from an organization called Vegan Outreach. So this kind of talks about treatment of different species, and I'd also encourage you to just think about the idea of speciesism, like, brought up the example of the dogs, for example. And there's people who say that like torturing a dog makes the dog taste better before you kill and eat them, for example. They might want to boil the dog alive or burn them alive, things like that, because the adrenaline, all that stuff, maybe makes their flesh softer or something like that. I'd like you to really think about this idea of like the role of other animals as in relative to humans, and if it really is our right to exploit or utilize them, and also the effects that would have on interhuman relationships. If we learn to respect the chicken for the individual they are, instead of seeing them as a means to a purpose, to an end, to accomplish something for ourselves, how would that affect how we view other people? Maybe like our views toward other maybe impoverished groups of people, our views toward the opposite sex, just like how that can have a ripple effect, where we just view other beings as here for whatever purpose was intended for them that's beyond our kind of like purpose we've assigned or bred them into, and so on and so forth.
I agree. I definitely would say that that doesn't like stretch beyond the measure of like the topic of like eating food and discussion of like food and animal cruelty. It definitely doesn't stretch beyond that
You're
topic.
saying your
For
values
me,
are like progressive and open-minded in other realms outside.
yeah. But
Yeah.
like in that specifically, I know that I consciously understand that that's what happens, but it's
Yeah.
just not something I think about.
Yeah, and that's
Nobody
the really
thinks
frustrating
about.
thing for vegans actually is that it sounds like you're kind of allied with a lot of progressive or left wing type of like thinking, like freedom, consideration for others, that kind of thing. Not to kind of like paint you with that, but just
Yeah.
I assume that's what it sounds like,
Mhm.
and that's really frustrating thing because we have a lot of allies in a lot of other causes. And not every vegan is left wing either. That's a whole nother topic, but I guess I don't want to veer off topic, but I would just encourage you to try to include the non-human animals in your sphere of compassion, within your moral community. Just kind of see them as people, and see where that kind of takes you. And of course, we can't. It's not like it's not a magic bullet for all the world's problems, but as I was explaining earlier, I think it can help social harmony to a really great extent, and just reduce a lot of rights from being violated, a lot of beings from experiencing just horrific abuse.
I appreciate the discussion.
Yeah, thank you for stopping. Really appreciate it. All right, take care. Have a great night. Thank you, guys. All right. I don't know if the screen just froze because I just got my 20% battery warning thing. I think usually when that happens, the screen freezes. Hopefully, it was just very short if it froze. But I think I got time for one more. Didn't freeze. Okay, that's really good. Thanks, Martin. All right, I got time for one more. So let's do it. Glad to see a lot of people here in the chat. I'm just holding this sign that says, "Come participate in a social experiment." So yeah, I think we can squeeze in one more conversation. So thank you to everyone who is here. If you are vegan, please think about ways that you can be a louder voice for animals. And if you are not vegan, please consider viewing animals for the beings that they are rather than products and services you can turn them into. Oh, a pigeon just flew by. Got some interest, but not stoppage. So I haven't been really waiting around a lot today, which is pretty amazing. People have been pretty quick to stop by. I think since the weather's a little bit cooler and people are kind of like off work, etc. It's just a little bit more conducive to people stopping by. Yeah, my nose is so itchy. I don't know why. Maybe there's some like pollen or what do you call it? What's that stuff off grass? I don't remember. Maybe it's grass pollen. I don't know. But yeah, I see some talk about plants and plants feeling pain or not. I would say that it's kind of irrelevant because think about this: vegans are concerned with causing pain to animals, right? And if you farm an animal, you end up actually killing more plants because you have to feed that animal something, right? And I mean, you're feeding them plants. So if you care about plants, then your own logic actually dictates that you should eat the plants directly yourself instead of feeding them to animals to raise the animals. If you think about like farmland, we have 83% of farmland goes for animal agriculture, and they provide only I think like 18% of global calories. So yeah, we end up losing a lot of we end up wasting a lot of crops basically in the farming of animals. So if you're concerned with hello, would you like to participate? Are you over 18? Okay, great. Want to come in the screen? I'm live on YouTube, by the way.
Okay.
What's your name?
Devin Carter.
Devin. Cool. My name is Haas, and basically, I'm asking about the fact that it's been really hot. Yesterday, I guess maybe last week, today, and none of us want to get like sunburn, stuff like that, of course. And I'm kind of wondering what you think about this research that's been done. So I'm basically speaking up about this experimentation that's been done on dogs, where researchers basically shaved fur off of a dog to burn them at that spot, and then to see how the skin would react, like how it would heal from the burn. What do you think about that? Like for like research purposes, burning dogs with hot plates.
It sounds like animal abuse. I guess like I don't respect that. Do you?
No, I certainly don't. And I'm wondering, I guess, if like, what is it about? Do you think that animal abuse is wrong?
I mean, obviously it's wrong. I think some of the everybody like fishermen abuse the fish. Like people always like have their people kill ants. Like animals are always abused, but I think especially when you're taking somebody would call that a pet. There's adoption centers. Like people love dogs. So yeah, I'm not cool with any animal abuse.
If somebody said that like these dogs were going to get put down anyway, like let's say they're in a shelter, the shelter's overflowing, they've got a few pit bulls that nobody wants, and then the scientist guy rolls up with his van and he's like, hey, I'll take them off your hands and they can benefit burn research. Don't worry, we'll euthanize them after we burn the crap out of them. Do you think that would be okay?
No. I mean, I don't respect them. Yeah. I mean, you could probably, find DNA, and if you're a true scientist, like you could find a way around it. You could conduct the experiment, or use like donated skin, maybe. I don't know. I mean,
consent is, I think, a big part of it too, right?
Yeah.
Like if you had, let's say, human subjects, and I mean, it's kind of grim to think about, but let's say a human was offered like $2,000 to submit themselves to this kind of experiment. Presumably, this would be more ethical, in my view, than having an unwitting non-volunteer, of any species, whether they're human, dog, cow, pig, chicken. So I'm wondering what you think. Sounds like you have a pretty passionate stance against animal abuse. I'm wondering if you would consider what happens to animals in the farming of animals to be a form of abuse.
I mean, I saw a documentary about cows and how they basically rape them to get milk and just inject them with like sperm and keep them pregnant all the time. So that was like pretty eye-opening.
What was it called?
I don't remember, to be honest with you, but I mean, that made me like, dude, I love dairy milk and I still drink it, but I didn't drink dairy for like a week after that. It made me really sad. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a way you could go about, like, I think a lot of these people, like, who do these messed up experiments, I feel like some of them do it for pleasure. And that's where, like, I feel like you're taking out your fantasies a little bit. And, like, that's just weird to me,
So you mentioned witnessing what happens to cows for dairy, for their milk. And then you mentioned really loving the products that you can get from that industry.
Yeah.
Would you disagree that your funding of that industry is purely for pleasure purposes?
I mean, I mostly drink like whole milk from a farm that is pretty good to their animals. So, I mean, that's what I think now. But like, I don't really buy like a lot of big like products. But I had a good time. You could find me on TikTok. It's Devin.Carter0. I do my own thing. I don't talk about this, but yeah, I just wanted to be a part of it. So
cool. I appreciate your participation. And I'm not sure what documentary you saw, but I would recommend checking out Dominion on YouTube. If you type in Dominion 2018, you'll see it's basically standard practices from Australia. It sounds like you have a good heart because you saw that footage from the dairy industry, or you learned about how it works, and it was enough from an ethical basis to put you off of it for some time. So I think you probably have some little sticky corners in your mind that are a little bit uncomfortable for you to like really reflect in on and face, which is totally the case for like 99% of the population. So I'm not throwing shade on you at all. I think if anything, your willingness even to confront it once is a testament to your ethical caliber. But I'd encourage you just to lean into that, follow up on that, and I'd encourage you to check out Dominion again. There's also a website called howdoigovegan.com. I had leaflets, but the rest of them are in my backpack. Yeah, I've been vegan for almost 13 years now. Stopped eating animals about 2 years before that, and then if you want some help from a nutritional standpoint, there's a group called Challenge 22, and they provide nutritionists or registered dietitians, and they can help you like basically for 22 days totally free.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bloated right now. I just ate some deep dish pizza. We're out here in Chicago. I like the red meat and stuff. Like, I know there's a lot of like, stuff that goes on in these industries and stuff, but
it's bullying, right? It's basically bullying vulnerable animals. Yeah. So I'd encourage you to look more into it. You'll never regret acting with compassion.
Yeah.
You can remember anything from this conversation. Just when you choose compassion, you can never go wrong.
Yeah.
All right, Devin.
And remember Devin Carter.
Yeah.
I'll be big one day.
All right. Take it easy. Have a good one. All right. So I think basically that would be our last conversation for the day. Thanks to everybody who stopped by. Again, this was just kind of an experiment to see how people feel versus how they act, and then see if we can align them. So even though in the title I talked about pushing beliefs, it's more just seeing if people are actually willing to act in line with their beliefs. So thanks everybody for being here, vegan or non-vegan. If you're non-vegan, hey, you just spent however many minutes on a vegan stream, and that helps my engagement. So I do appreciate that, and hope you will subscribe. I'll be out here somewhere again tomorrow, and this is something that you'll be seeing more and more vegans doing. So thanks to all the vegans and non-vegans alike, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your whatever day it is in whatever part of the world you're in, and do something kind for animals today. All right, take care, everybody.